You're watching the Mortgage Busters show. My name is Greg, and you know this show is all about paying off your mortgage at a fast rate of knots, but also preparing for retirement. We say this at the beginning of each show. Rain, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Greg.
Now, you're the permanent co-host.
Yes, I am. It is an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. So, in terms of what we discussed last week,
yes,
right, just remind the viewers the main points of what we covered.
Absolutely. So, Greg, we talked about paying off your mortgage fast. How do you do that? You can do it in two ways. You can either pay it off and work hard at it, or you can work smart at it. Now, most of our viewers would be defaulting to working it harder and not working it smarter. What does that mean? It means paying off your mortgage by monitoring your interest rate, getting the best possible interest rate, the lowest, and which will help you to pay it off faster, getting all your loose change and putting it into where? Your offset account. All of your salary, all of your money, all of your savings need to sit in the offset account to help reduce the daily interest being charged from your mortgage, and then you pay all your bills and all your outgoings from there too. So
you're not paying. You get your Telstra bill,
yes,
and you don't pay it on the first day. You don't pay. You don't have to pay it on the last day. You don't want to default on payments, but
yes,
you just got to work it out so that your money is going to the mortgage for as long as possible.
Absolutely, you need to leave that money in there, sitting in that bank, offsetting against your principal and interest of the mortgage loan, so that when every day that it sits there, so every dollar that sits there is $1 less that your interest will be calculated on for your loan.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Saving you interest, which is the biggest part of the expense of having a mortgage.
Absolutely. And what happens when you save money? Well, you have more money that goes into your pocket, and then paying off your mortgage sooner. So that's one way that you can work it hard. And let's not forget, every little bit of money and inheritance or any extra income that we get can also go into the offset account. That's working it harder. Now, working it smarter is an entirely different universe. It's an advanced strategy that we would recommend to all our viewers to do, because it means engaging and investing in a positive cash flow vehicle or scenario that puts more money in your pocket and also saves you money from the taxman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So when you talk about a positive cash flow investment, what are we talking about there? Like, give me an example of a positive cash flow investment. Are we talking? You tell me.
Well, we covered so many points last time. You could put in the bank, but you'll just barely get ahead of inflation if you do it that way. You can.
Because what you can get 3%.
Oh, if you're lucky at the moment.
Track.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you can get about 3%, maybe a bit more. And inflation itself, well, you got to check with the government with that, but that just keeps barely ahead of it. So that's one way. The second way is to trade in shares, but that's pretty high risk. You need to know what you're doing in order to get enough of a return back into your hands to pay off your mortgage faster.
Correct.
Now, the third thing is property, which is the bread and butter of this show. We love property. We always talk about property. We talk about mortgages day in, day out. Because
can I just interrupt you for a second? Because you know for a fact that I love shares. I love to trade.
Oh,
right?
It's true. Greg is a share trader.
I'm definitely a share trader, and that's just my makeup, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, if I had to call it quits on anything other than one single investment, I would keep my property. I would make sure that the property is intact as against anything else.
Absolutely. And that is one of the wisest things that you can do. Why, Greg? Because more people have made more money. Most of the millionaires and billionaires of this world are actually made from property.
Yeah, correct.
Especially.
And you don't have to be, the big shot investor. You can just be the average, the man or the person next door that has a few investments is doing really well.
Yes, because that's how you can help set yourself up for retirement. If you have a plan and a strategy, you can just buy one property, but it has to be positive cash flow. Why? Again, because it puts money back into your pocket, it helps pay off your mortgage faster, and it saves you money from the taxman, especially if it's brand new property.
Of course.
Yes.
And we love brand new property.
We do love brand new property.
So, we're so used to terminology of positive cash flow, negative
Yes.
cash flow, neutral cash flow, blah,
Oh,
blah, blah.
negative gearing, positive gearing.
All that stuff.
Yes,
right?
it's true.
So what does it actually mean? Positive cash
Great
flow,
question.
negative cash flow.
Great
What-
question.
Yes.
You know what? Because Australians love to negatively gear. What
But do they really understand what that means?
that means
That they know that they think that it's a good thing, right?
It's true. It's true because that's all that most people talk about. But at the end of the day, if your property is actually costing you money out of your hard-earned pockets every pay, then it's negatively geared and negative cash flow. That means that if anything happens to you, which it happens to a lot of people, if you lose your job, you are at risk of losing all your properties because you're not able to service the mortgage and then pay for the expenses for these property. Now that's negative cash flow, negative gearing. Now positive cash flow and positive gearing is something else entirely. It means having properties that actually put money in your pockets.
Yeah. So let me just get this right. So negative cash flow doesn't mean that it's a negative. It's not a negative thing to do as such, right?
No.
It just means that it's costing you.
That's right.
Yes,
And it's
yeah.
not worth it unless you earn over 150,000 on average for you to negatively gear your portfolio or your investment properties. For the average Joe Blow, you are far better off putting money back into your pocket. So if you actually lose your job, your property, guess what? Will pay for itself.
Yeah.
And it will
Yeah.
put money back into
Yeah.
your pocket to help you what? Pay your mortgage,
Correct.
pay your bills, and help you survive. And this is the real kicker: plan for retirement.
Yeah.
So if our viewers are relying on their supers or the government to give them a pension in order for them to live, they have to rethink that because the government keeps pushing up the age of retirement, and soon we won't be able to retire at all. They will be expecting us to work until we die. Now, Greg, who wants to work until they die?
Right. Well, just a stat or a statistic.
Yes,
Because we're
go
about to
ahead.
go to a break. But
Sure.
I know that in this early 60s, the
Yeah.
average man retired at 65,
Yes.
right? And there would be 6 taxpayers to support one pensioner.
Wow.
But they would die at around about 7 years old. There
Yes.
would be 5 years to supply someone in retirement for retirement
A pension,
cash flow.
yeah.
Correct. But now
Yes.
people are retiring 60, 65, 70 years old, but they're dying at 85, 90 years old. And there's only
Oh.
3 taxpayers as
Yes.
compared to 6 taxpayers.
Yes.
So those sums just don't work out.
No, the maths certainly do not add
Of
up,
course.
Greg.
Anyway,
And-
we've got to go to a break. Sorry to cut you off.
no problem.
You're watching the Mortgage Busters show. We'll be back momentarily. You're watching the Mortgage Busters show, and we're with Rain Liu, who's our co-host. Rain.
Great.
So
Hi.
we've been talking about paying off the mortgage as fast as possible, and
Yes.
we've done this ad infinitum. Right?
Yes, we have.
We've talked about a little bit about investments.
Yes.
Right. So when it comes to an investment, particularly an investment property,
Yes.
there's this whole issue around positive, negative cash flow. Which
Yes.
one is the best? And you know, and I know that it's positive cash flow that gets you through.
Especially if you want to plan for retirement, Greg.
Of course.
Because you need that cash flow coming into you, into your pockets and into your bank account every fortnight, every month, or whenever it is, in order to allow you the money to spend during your retirement.
All right. So I'm just going to go to the whiteboard.
Yes.
Let's focus on the existing home.
Yes.
Okay. So let's just say this is the home. Okay.
That a family might live in with their
Exactly.
a
Yep.
husband and
There's
wife, kids.
Husband and wife.
Yep.
Here.
Yep.
Right. And wife here. Circle. And they're both. Let's just say that they're both working.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And they've got dollars coming in from their
Yes.
jobs. okay?
Absolutely.
And there's a mortgage of, say, I don't know, 200,000.
Yes.
okay?
Let's just say it's 200,000.
200,000.
Mm-hmm.
Which is there. Okay.
Okay.
The house is worth maybe 500,000, whatever, but
Yes.
that mortgage value here is 200,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they get paid on a weekly. Let's say it's a weekly basis, and there's $1,000 each coming in to live and to pay bills
Yep.
and the mortgage and the whole lot.
Okay.
Right. So we're exponents for the offset account.
Yes,
okay?
we are.
And this offset account sits it's connected to the mortgage facility.
That's correct,
right?
Greg.
The
Yes.
offset account, right?
Yes.
So all your funds should go into the offset account, okay?
Yes, it's essential that it does.
Absolutely. So that let's just assume that the husband and wife are getting paid
Yes.
at the same time, just for simplicity, right?
Okay. Okay.
This happens on Monday afternoon or whatever, and $2,000 goes into that. Their wages goes off the offset off the mortgage, so it comes down to $198,000. Correct?
Yes, that's correct. So
Yes.
for the viewers, that would be what the interest will be calculated on. Instead of 200,000, it will be calculated on 198,000.
Correct. And the murderous part of this whole scenario is the interest bill.
Yes.
Correct. So we don't want to do. We've gone over this a few times. So as long as the viewers are aware that the offset account is the quickest way to pay this off. Well, there are quicker ways, but to keep it simple, right?
By paying off the principal in general, just
Yes,
directly.
correct. So
Yes.
to accelerate this whole scenario,
Yes.
so that your cash flow, because you get paid, but all your pay has to be. It's got to go into some living as well. So
Absolutely.
you've got to
Pay
pay
your
for
bills.
supermarkets, for
Yes.
telephone,
Groceries.
blah blah blah.
Yep,
But that
internet.
comes out of the offset account.
Absolutely.
So let's go to the next stage now, which is
Okay.
an investment property.
Yes,
Right.
this is the exciting part.
And what's the best thing of an investment property that we concentrate on?
We love to know that whenever you have an investment property, that is actually putting money in your pocket and also saving your tax from going to the tax man.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So let's just split this scenario into half, okay?
Yes. So
there's two sides of the equation, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's the money coming in, and then there's the money going out.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
So money coming in,
Mm-hmm.
we've got rent coming in.
That's right, from the tenants that rent the property.
Correct. Rent.
Yes.
Then you've got on the other incoming money that comes in from an investment property is
Yes.
tax deductions.
That's
right.
right, money coming back from the tax man.
Yes. And
Yeah.
you don't have to wait. Let's not labour on this, but you don't have to wait to get your tax benefits at the end of the financial year. You can get it on a pay-to-pay basis.
That's
Right.
right, Greg. There is
Most people don't know this.
Yes, the ATO actually has a ruling that allows people to do that. From every pay, you get your tax back, your tax deductions, especially from a brand new property. You get up to 40 years on the building. And
40.
40
Beautiful.
40 years on the building itself and up to 12 years on the fixtures.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So we're talking brand new property.
absolutely.
So on the income side of things, you've got the rent, you've got your tax deductions can
Yes.
happen on you on a regular basis, and then you've got the other side of the equation, which you've got the mortgage expense.
Yes,
Mortgage.
that's
expense,
the
right?
biggest. Yes,
It's not very tidy, but you know what I mean.
yes, I do.
Then you've got your other expenses. Okay.
The
Other
electricity,
expenses.
the gas, the bills, council
Well,
rates. Yes.
repairs.
Repairs,
Whatever,
yes,
rental
whatever it is.
expenses like the agent's fee,
True,
blah
true
blah
that.
blah. Which
Yes.
most of these expenses are tax deductible as well.
They
right?
are tax deductible.
So we want this money
Mm-hmm.
that you get from the rent and the tax deductions to be more than the mortgage payment and the expenses.
That is correct.
That's why we want
Yes.
positive cash flow.
That is
Positive
what makes
cash
it
flow.
positive cash flow.
Yes.
Yes.
So you can have properties that are negative cash flow, so that the balance is not the balance, but it's weighted on this side of the equation.
Yes.
So that the mortgage and the expenses are greater than the rent and the tax deductions.
That's right.
You don't want that.
No,
We don't
you
want that.
don't. You don't. That's what they call negative gearing versus positive gearing. When
We
it's going to
want
cost you
positive
more.
cash flow. We
Yes.
want the rent and the tax deductions to be greater than the mortgage and the expenses.
Yes.
So two things happen. You're making money on a regular basis.
Correct.
On a weekly basis, if you
Yes.
want that to be the case. Not only that, going into this offset account, all this money that feeds in from this investment property goes into the offset account,
That's right.
reducing your mortgage on the property that you live in. It's got to go out again to pay these expenses, but you're constantly saving on the interest.
That is correct, Greg. So
There you go.
everything needs to go in and out of the offset account. That is the most important thing to help pay off your mortgage faster.
Now,
apart
Rain,
from
I
the
know it's a
interest
bit
rates.
untidy,
It is a little.
but to me, this is a beautiful picture.
It's
It really
lovely.
is. It's the
Yeah.
Mona Lisa on investing and paying off your mortgage.
And you know what? It's so simple. If you just look at it as hiring someone that works for you day and night to make you money and that never sleeps, who doesn't love that?
Of course it is. That's sensational. I
Yeah.
can't think of a better arrangement.
Absolutely.
Rain, we need to go to a break.
Okay,
So you're
Greg.
watching the Mortgage Busters show, and we'll see you on the other side of the break. You're watching the Mortgage Busters show, and we're back with Rain Liu. Rain, so we've covered paying off the mortgage
Yes,
as
we
fast
have.
as possible, okay? Particularly by the offset account, okay? All your money feeds into the offset account to save you interest. Yeah?
Yes.
The second thing we talked about is investing, and particularly in property, but as a standalone investment. So buying a standalone investment property,
That's positive cash flow.
positive cash flow.
That's right. That's one of the key things.
Beautiful. But we're also, the Mortgage Busters show is involved in syndication.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit more about that for me?
Oh, great. That is one of the most exciting things that we have available at the moment through organic demand from viewers watching our show. They've been approaching us and asking us, help, can you help us? How can we A, pay off our mortgages faster, and B, plan for retirement? So some of our clients, because we had so many clients approach us, they wanted to actually invest their money in things that other than property. So we created this thing called syndications, where investors can basically pull all their money together and go and into a property development
Fantastic.
as a whole.
It's a great idea.
It is.
And the big benefit of that really is that it doesn't have to be a major outlay.
No.
It's not like you've got you purchase a property, a $300,000 or $400,000 property, and they need $150,000 deposit.
That
right?
is correct. That
So
is
what's the minimum amount to involve for a client to become involved in a syndication?
Now that's the beauty of it. Syndications with the Mortgage Busters show only cost a minimum of $50,000.
Well, it doesn't cost. It's just
It doesn't cost. It's basically your money that you put in, and there is a return that you get back at the end of it. Because you're participating in the syndication, you own part of the land, you get the builder's profit, you get the developer's profit, and you get the commissions from the sales of the property.
correct.
Isn't that amazing?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And a lot of people that are involved in this syndication, they elect to.
Many of our syndications.
Yeah.
Yes.
they actually elect to, they participate in the syndication, but at the end of the day, they build up a nest egg that they can purchase into one of the properties.
Yes,
Yeah,
and that is-
like when the development's completed,
That's
they
correct.
can actually end up with one of the properties.
Yes, and that's one of the beauties of syndication through the Mortgage Buster show is that when you actually, for example, put in 50,000, you get your 50,000 back plus interest, and you qualify for a discounted positive cash flow, brand new off the plan property.
Which is the best way, which we've discussed I don't know how many times. Yes.
Absolutely. It is the best way to not just get tax back and tax deductions from the taxman, but also put money in your pocket to pay off your mortgage faster.
Correct. So all this really is in an effort to retire the wealthy. That doesn't even have to be wealthy, but just to
No.
enjoy a good lifestyle.
Absolutely, so that you do not have a ball and chain of your mortgage for your home around your ankle, and you have enough money in to live comfortably. Because one of the questions that we often ask our viewers and our clients is, what kind of life do you want to live? Do you want to spend more time with family? Do you want to travel the world? Do you want to spend 6 months in Australia and 6 months overseas a year? All these are possible if people only plan and strategize for their financial future and seize their financial destiny in their own hands.
I love the way you just determined that, and it's that the way you explained that was just fantastic.
Thank you.
So, it's not rocket science. I keep saying this.
It really isn't. You know what, Greg? Because some of our viewers are already paying more than the minimum. They're doing everything possible. They're paying it off weekly, fortnightly, and more than the minimum monthly payment. So some of our viewers, because they're already paying so much more, they can easily borrow even against their own home to not just buy and in positive cash flow investment property, but also put their money into syndications and make more money. Quite often, the returns that our viewers and our clients can get is at least 3 times what the bank rates are.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It is absolutely amazing.
Okay, so, and the other thing is, a lot of viewers that are listening to this show, okay, they think, well, this is a big ask for me to have to pay off the mortgage that, I'm paying off my current home, and it's a struggle as it is.
Yes.
And then we've got to borrow yet again for another property. But this is, a toned down way to actually participate in a syndication that it could be as little as $50,000.
Yes, and that is correct. For as little as $50,000, people can make much more money.
It can be more, but the minimum is about $50,000.
That's correct.
Otherwise, it's not worth your while.
No, because you want some decent returns coming back into your pocket to pay off your mortgage faster, or to reinvest that money into a positive cash flow investment property that will, at the end of the day, save you tax and help you to, again, pay your mortgage off sooner.
So, really, there's 4 points, right?
Okay.
The first one is pay off the mortgage. Do everything you can to pay it off. Right?
Absolutely, including getting a lower interest rate, if possible.
Yes, because we investigate this all the time.
We do.
And you're the master of this, let me tell you. I know that for a fact. So, pay off the mortgage. Number 2, invest.
Yes.
Okay. Number 3, participate in a syndication as an option.
Yes.
Right? Number 4, think about how you're using your super.
Absolutely. So one of the most underutilized things in Australians' finances is their super. Do you trust someone else to manage your money for you? Do you trust them not to lose your money? If you don't,
Because it happens.
It happens. It happened in the GFC, and it can happen to you.
The global financial crisis.
That is correct. It happened in the global financial crisis, and
and they say that like they nominate those letters like as if it had to happen.
Oh goodness, they keep talking about more in future.
Yes, of course.
So how can you protect yourself in these circumstances? Well, we recommend that you put your money in bricks and mortar property developments and homes and units that you will see a return on. You can see it, you can touch it, you can feel it, you know it's there. You know it's not imaginary.
And the last time I looked, the Australian population isn't decreasing.
That is correct. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, our population is, it will grow to 35 million people by 2050.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Even if they're half wrong, that's pretty good. That's a rosy picture.
That's another 11 million people.
I'm getting messages that we're running out of time.
Sure.
So, what can you as a co-host? How do the listeners, the viewers, how do they contact the show for us?
Actually, it's quite simple. All they have to do is call 1-300-TMB-SHOW. That is 1-300-862-746.
Or go to the website?
Or go to the website tmbshow.com.au.
Thanks again, Rain. We'll see you again next week. You've been watching the Mortgage Busters show, and we'll see you again next week.